Hi again, I'm Rahana, and we are playing more of Gakuen Heaven 2. We are on Joker's Route, and this is the day where Yuki can go and talk to whoever he wants on Sunday. We get the cute world map here, and we are going to go to Durak. As before, it hopefully shows you who's hanging out where, so you can choose the person you want to talk to. We'll go see Joker.
Yes, Durak に行ってみよう。
Alright, I'll go to Durak.
生徒会の敵対組織とはいえ、もう少しデュラックの人たちを知っておいた方がいいよな。
Even though they're opposed to the student council, I should get to know the members of Durak better.
さてと。
Alright.
うわっ！何？
What is this?
今、窓の外に何かいたよな。
Right now, there was something outside the window, wasn't there? It looked like a person's shadow.
ってここ最上階だぞ。
But this is the top floor.
いない。やっぱり見間違いか。
There's nothing there. I must have seen it wrong.
そうだよな。
That's right.
まさかこの高さで外に人がいるはずないよな。
There's no way a person could be out somewhere this high.
うん。
Right.
気のせい気のせい。じゃなきゃ見間違いと。
It's just my imagination. I just saw it wrong.
よし、気を取り直して。
Alright, I'm gonna compose myself.
中から声が聞こえる。誰かいるみたいだな。
I hear voices. I guess someone's here. Knock knock.
なんだろう。
What was
まあいい
that?
か。
Oh
こん
well.
にちは。朝比奈ゆうきです。
That's
あ
me.
あ、入っていいよ。
And Joker
それじゃあ
invites you in.
失礼します。あ、おかけん、お前も来てたんだ。
So Okaken is here as well.
うわ、
And Chiba is looking a little crazed.
芝さん。
貴様、いきなり何の用だ。
What do you want all of a sudden?
何の用って。
What do I want?
どうしたんですか。
What's going on?
聞いているのは自分だ。
Oh, I'm asking you.
なんか顔色悪いですよ。それに
You don't look so good.
一体何が。
What is this?
自分はこれで失礼します。
Myself will be leaving.
芝さん。
隼人、最後まで聞いていきなよ。
Hayato, you should listen till the end.
ああ、振られちゃった。
Oh, we got rejected.
ま、そろそろ限界だったからしょうがないか。
Well, it can't be helped. He was at his limit.
それにしてもさ、ゆうきくんの訪ねてきたタイミング。
Yuki, you came in at the perfect
ほん
time.
と、絶妙だったな。
何だったんですか今の。
What just happened?
ああ、彼の話を聞いてただけだよ。
We were just listening to his story.
彼っておかけんの。
You mean Okaken?
今日仕入れたばかりの聞きたてほやほやの最新の都市伝説だよ。
So he has the latest urban legend that he just heard today.
都市伝説。それって学校の怪談とか噂話みたいなやつ。
Urban legend? You mean like ghost stories and rumors?
その通り。現代における交渉のことだ。
That's right. It's stuff that's passed down as an oral tradition in the modern age.
最高に盛り上がってたシーンで、ちょうどゆうきくんがここのドアをノックしたってわけ。
And you came knocking at just the most dramatic moment.
それで隼人があの驚きよう。はあ、かわいいな。
And Hayato was so surprised. He was so cute.
はあ、なんか俺タイミング悪かったみたいですね。
It kind of seems like my timing was bad then.
とんでもない最高のタイミングだった。
Not at all. It was the best.
それにしても意外だな。
何がだい？
ここでおかけんに会うとは思わなかった。
Well, I didn't know you'd be here.
おかけんってデュラックの幹部ってわけじゃないだろ。
Do you come to Durak a lot?
岡ちゃんは面白い話を仕入れたら時々教えに来てくれるんだ。
He'll come by sometimes if he has an interesting story for us.
面白い話って怖い話ですよね。
You mean a scary story?
よくわかったね。
You get it.
そりゃ、さっきの千葉さんの反応を見れば、なんとなく。
Well, I could kind of tell from Chiba's reaction before.
ってことは。
So, you can ask, do you like occult type stuff? Or you can ask, what kind of story was it? So let's ask, what kind of story was it?
どんな話をしてたんですか？
そうか、朝比奈くん。君も聞きたいのかい？
You want to hear it too?
まあ。
Well,
これで君は間違いなく今夜は眠れなくなること受け合いだ。
you definitely won't be able to sleep tonight.
何しろこの僕の情報、とっておきの都市伝説なのだ。
This is my information, my trump card urban legend. Grab.
しかし、本当に聞きたいのかい？
But do you really want to
聞いた
hear
ら
it?
一生後悔するかもしれない。
If you hear it, you may regret it for the rest of your life.
なんだよ、もったいぶらずに教えろよ。
What is that? Just tell me.
結構長いしね。
It's kind of long.
時間ならあります。
I have time.
聞かなくても、これからの君の人生に何の影響もないよ。
But if you don't want to hear it, it won't be able to affect your life from now on.
それでも聞く？
You still want to hear it?
う
Erg. So you have a choice. You can refuse, or you can listen to it. We're gonna listen to it. It is a long story. It is kind of creepy. So if you're not good with scary stories, you may not like this. But
それでも聞きたい。
oh my god! Actually, I didn't know the story was in the game until kind of recently because every time that I used a walkthrough, I would just choose I don't want to hear it. And I never actually saw it. And then I was like, you know what? I've never chosen to actually listen to the story. And I didn't know that there was a story in here. Way back when I first got the game, I used one of those kind of decompiling tools to take it apart and found some interesting images in there. And I was like, what the heck is this stuff in the game? I was like, this must just be some junk data that was in there. But this is where those images actually appear. And it's a little creepy.
よしよしよし。
Alright, alright, alright.
それじゃあお望み通り、とっておきの都市伝説を聞かせてあげよ
Then, as you wish, I'll let you hear my best urban legend.
う。これは僕のオカルト仲間の大学院生から聞いた話だ。
This is a story I heard from my occult friends in college.
彼はこういう類の話の収集に長けている人物でね。その友達の友達から聞いた話だ。
It was from a person who collects these kind of stories, and it's a story from a friend of a friend.
題して、呪いのハンドバッグ。
It's called The Cursed Handbag.
呪い。
Cursed?
始まりは、とあるオークションサイト。
It begins with a certain auction site.
とある OL が、そこでショルダーバッグを競り落としたんだ。
And a certain office lady bid on a shoulder bag that was up for sale.
それは彼女がずっと欲しいと憧れていたバッグだった。
It was a bag she had always wanted.
それはハイブランドの数量限定品で、たとえ中古だったとしても、そう簡単に手に入るバッグじゃなかった。
And because it was a high-class brand and so few had been made, even though it was kind of old, it wasn't easy to
まして
get.
や、彼女の給料で手が出せるような価格でもなかった。
It was too expensive for her to buy with her regular salary.
それが、彼女でも手が出せる価格で出品されていたんだから、競り落とさない手はない。もちろん写真を見る限り、模
So
造
the
品の
only
ように
way
見
that she
えな
could
かっ
get it was to bid on it, and from the pictures it didn't appear to be a
た。
fake.
何よりその皮を継ぎ合わせた不揃いな風合いが、彼女を引きつけた。
And more than anything, what drew her in was the uneven way it was patched together from leather, so you can see it's kind of a patchwork sort of purse here.
彼女は手に入れた嬉しさのあまり、バッグの写真を SNS に載せ、同僚や友人に自慢した。
And in her happiness at winning it, she put the picture of the bag on a social network and she boasted about it to her friends and roommates.
入札が殺到して高騰するかと思われたが、なぜかそのバッグはすんなり落札できた。
She thought the price would have gotten bid up, but for some reason she was able to win
届
it.
いたバッグの状態は良好。数種類の革素材を継ぎ合わせた斬新なデザイン、その色合い。
And the bag she received was in excellent condition. It was made from multiple pieces of leather and it had a modern design and nice color.
そして彼女はそのバッグを大切に部屋
So
に
she
飾って
treasured
おく
it
こと
and
に
she
し
put it
た。
on display in her room.
ところがある日、同僚が こう言い出したんだ。
And on a certain day, one of her roommates said,
明日友達の結婚式があるの。その日のドレスによく合いそうだからこのバッグを貸してくれない？と。
I'm going to a friend's wedding tomorrow and this bag would go well with my dress. Will you lend it to me?
最初はまだ自分も使っていない大事なバッグを誰にも貸すつもりはなかった。
At first, she didn't intend to lend her precious bag to someone when she hadn't even used it herself yet.
しかし
But for
な
some
ぜか
reason,
彼女はそれを快く貸し出すことに OK をしてしまったんだ。
well, she said okay and she lent it to her happily.
そして翌日、彼女の携帯電話が鳴った。
And the next day, her cell phone rang.
発信者はバッグを貸した同僚。
And the call was from her roommate who had borrowed the bag.
だが
But
電話に出た彼女が聞いたのは知らない男性の声だった。
the voice on the other end was an unknown man.
この携帯電話の持ち主が交通事故にあった。
The owner of this cell phone has been in an accident.
肩にかけていたバッグのストラップが車に引っかかり、そのまま引きずられてしまったらしい。
The strap of the bag on her shoulder got caught by a car and it was pulled.
数日後、ようやく面会の許しが出て、彼女は病院へお見舞いに行った。
And a few days later, when she was finally allowed to visit, she went to visit at the hospital.
ベッドに横たわった同僚の上半身からは左腕が失われていた。
Her roommate, who was lying on the bed, had lost her left arm.
変わり果てた姿の同僚はそれでも律儀にバッグを返した。
Her roommate looked transformed, but nevertheless, she formally returned the bag.
返却されたバッグにはなぜか傷一つついてなかった。
And for some reason, it had not a scratch on it,
車に引っかかり何十メートルも引きずられた後だというのに。
even though it had been caught by a car and dragged for several tens of meters.
そして受け取ったバッグから彼女は違和感を覚え
And
た。
she felt kind of uneasy when she got the
だ
bag
が
back,
バッグは
but
無傷だったため
since
そ
it
れ
was
を口にする
unharmed,
ことなく彼女は帰
she
宅
went
した。
home without saying anything.
それからしばらく経ったある日、結婚して家を出ていた姉が彼女の家にやってきた。
And a certain day, a while later, her older sister who had left to get married came to
そして
visit.
部屋に飾ってあったバッグを目にすると貸してほしいとせがんだ。
And when she saw the bag in her room, she begged to borrow it.
姉の推しに負け、彼女は姉にそのバッグを貸すことにした。
Pressured by her sister, she lent her the bag.
そして翌日、再び彼女の携帯が鳴った。
And the next day, once again, her cell phone rang.
その電話が告げたのは姉がトラックにひかれ亡くなったという事実だった。
What she learned was that her sister had been run over by a truck and died.
その日、借りたバッグを持って出かけていた姉はバイクに乗ったひったくりに襲われた。
That day, her sister had gone out with the bag and was attacked by a purse snatcher on a motorcycle.
バッグを奪われた姉は取り返そうと慌てて後を追ったんだ。
And her sister, who had lost the bag, chased him to try and get it
しか
back.
し車道に飛び出したところでトラックにひかれてしまった。
But when she flew out into the street, she was run over by a truck.
急いで病院に駆けつけた彼女は変わり果てた姉の遺体と対面した。
And the woman rushed to the hospital and was greeted by the corpse of her sister, who looked
そしてそ
transformed.
こで彼女を待っていた警察官から姉の遺品を手渡された。
And the policeman waiting there for her gave her her sister's belongings.
それは彼女が姉に貸したあのショルダーバッグだった。
It was the shoulder bag her sister had borrowed.
そのバッグは
But-
ひったくりに盗まれたはずではなかったのか。
Hadn't that been stolen?
そう尋ねる彼女に警察はその後の出来事を沈鬱な顔で話し始めた。
When she asked that, the policeman began to tell the tale of what happened.
事故のおかげで追っ手から逃れられたと安心したひったくり犯だったが、
Thanks to the accident, the purse snatcher thought he had gotten away, but
その直後バイクの操作を誤りそのままバイクごとショーウィンドウに突っ込んでしまったんだ。
right after that, because he made a mistake while driving his motorcycle, he crashed into a shop window.
フルフェイスのヘルメットのおかげでかろうじて命は助かった。
And thanks to the full face helmet he was wearing, his life was saved.
しかし路上に倒れた男の上に割れた巨大なガラス片が落ち、男の腕は切り落とされていたそうだ。
But while he was collapsed on the ground, large pieces of broken glass fell from the window and cut off his arms.
そんなことがあったにもかかわらず、そのショルダーバッグはやはり無傷のままだった。
And even with all that happening, the bag was still unharmed.
そしてバッグを受け取った彼女はまたも違和感を覚えた。
And as she received that bag back, she once again felt
そ
uneasy.
こで初めて彼女は違和感の原因に気づいた。
And she finally understood the reason for her
初めて手
uneasiness.
にした時よりも継いだ革の種類が増えている。
Didn't it have more pieces of leather than it did when she'd first gotten it?
前回は1箇所、今回は2箇所。
Before it was just in one place, and now it was in two.
恐ろしくなった彼女は帰宅する途中のゴミ捨て場にショルダーバッグを捨ててしまった。
And fearful, she threw the bag away in a trash can as she went home.
そしてその夜、
And that night,
ベッドに入ろうとしていた彼女の部屋にノックの音が響いた。
as she was about to go to bed, she heard a knock at her door.
コンコン。母親かと思って声をかけたが返事はない。
She called out, thinking maybe it was her mother, but there was no response.
コンコン。玄関のドアを開けてみたがそこには誰もいなかった。
She opened the front door, but no one was there.
その代わり玄関の前に何かが置かれていた。
Instead, something had been placed there.
それは確かに昼間捨てたはずのあのショルダーバッグだったのだ。
It was the bag she'd thrown away during the day.
恐怖のあまり彼女は急いでそれを外に投げ捨てようとした。
And filled with fear, she hurriedly tried to throw it away.
その時とっさに振り上げたバッグの蓋が開き、
And at that moment, the flap on the bag opened as she was waving it around.
中から血まみれの腕が伸び彼女の腕をがっしりと掴んだ。
And a blood-stained arm reached out and grabbed her arm.
次はあなたの腕をちょうだい。
Next, give me your arm. Poor Yuki. This is kind of the same reaction I had, though.
次の日の早朝、駅で飛び込み自殺があった。
Early the next morning, there was a suicide who jumped in front of the train.
目撃者の話では飛び込んだのはショルダーバッグを肩に下げた若い OL 風の女性だった。
And according to eyewitnesses, the person who jumped had a bag on her shoulder and she looked like a young office lady type.
遺体はバラバラになり血と肉塊が線路沿いに飛び散った。
Her corpse was scattered. Her blood and flesh were scattered across the tracks.
だがそれらを集めてもどうしても見つからないものがあった。
And they tried to gather them all up, but no matter how much they looked, there were some parts they couldn't find.
片腕と彼女が下げていたというショルダーバッグだけが。
One arm and the bag she'd been carrying.
そしてそれらは今も見つかっていない。
And even now, they still haven't been found.
そのバッグは今もどこかのネットオークションに出品されているらしい。
It seems that the bag is up for auction somewhere even now.
あなたが購入するのを待ちわびながら。
Waiting for you to bid. And someone else knocks on the door at just the right moment, freaking out Yuki. This is a perfect place to stop. So yes, that is the urban legend from Okaken. I was kind of surprised when I first saw this that it wasn't one of the weird urban legends from the school that was mentioned in the fan disc, because there are some creepy ones there. There's something about like a student who hanged himself on the school bridge, and if you ever tell the story to anybody else, you yourself will die, which I guess is why nobody ever tells the story, right? So I was surprised that they didn't use one of those at first. I was a little disappointed when I first started seeing this story, but by the end I was like, you know what? That was actually pretty good. So I will cut this one here and we'll continue with this interesting scene next time. We'll see who has shown up here and freaked out Yuki, and oh my gosh, this poor kid. Alright, see you next time.